Let's welcome in Julie Robenhymer now of julierobenhymer.com, no stranger to the RP Show. Jules, welcome back to the RP Show. And I got to ask you, I just looked at the standings, and I don't know how old you are, and I'm not asking, but I see the Rangers, Islanders, and Flyers all in playoff spots, and I'm thinking, what is it, 1987? It's good times up there.
Yeah, it's definitely good times, but more than anything, the Metro is just wild. There are so many close games, and the teams themselves are so close together. You can't just win one game in the Metro. You need to go on like a 4-game, 5-game winning streak in order to get any kind of separation or traction within the division.
Which, interestingly enough, the Islanders have. And I just wonder, what's caught you the most off guard by all of this? And we've got to be mindful that we're not even at the halfway point mark, but apparently that doesn't matter. Let's just go goo goo gaga with what's happened. What surprised you the most?
I think the most surprising part is that it's been completely unpredictable. You know, I mean, last week, Islanders fans were calling for Lane Lambert's head. They wanted him gone, like yesterday. And then they pull it together and they're like, okay, he's not so bad. We'll keep him. So it's one of those things where, you know, you were just talking about how fans don't care about whether their team is on TV or not, or at least from a national perspective. They definitely care if they're winning or not. You know, the fans in Ottawa are pretty much irate. The fans in Philly don't believe what they're seeing. They definitely think this is a figment of their imagination and that the Flyers are going to tank the rest of the season, which, I mean, granted, it is a possibility. But I sit there and I say, embrace it for what it is, enjoy it for what it is. Every game at this point for a metropolitan team is important. Like, it is significant. It is a huge, huge swing. You've got 4 teams tied at 31 points. You've got something like 7 teams within 4 or 5 points of each other. Like, you can swing in one night. In one night, you can swing from like 2nd in the division to like 5th out of the playoffs. It's crazy.
Well, and the winner's the fans, and it feels like playoff hockey come early. But I got to ask you this about Philly, and I know you've told me this story about your parents and your upbringing and on how they got together and stuff. Flyers, Devils, who's more in your heart? Are they even? Who's ahead of whom in that? Those two.
Funny, I actually just had a conversation about this last night. I was at the Devils game, and somebody asked me that, and I am a non-discriminant hockey fan. Like, I will watch any game, any team. It doesn't matter to me. As long as it's a good game and an entertaining game, I'm happy as a clam. So, I mean, I did grow up watching the Flyers, but I did also work full-time for the Devils. So they both hold a special place in my heart. And I'm not even just saying that. Like, I legitimately enjoy watching both of them. I regularly go to both their games. But I'm just as happy watching anybody else play as well. So I just love
Okay,
hockey.
fair. Both is fine. And I am exactly the same way about the game myself. So, and I know you're following them closely. And here's my question about these Flyers, because I would say out of almost the entire NHL, they're a surprise so far. And we had Brian Propp on last week. He's crediting Daniel Briere. He's crediting a little bit Keith Jones. Not a lot of credit went to Torts from Proper. That's not to say he's all right about everything, but who are you crediting this turnaround to?
Truthfully, I think it's a group effort. I mean, one of the things that I think is so important to remember about this team is that the past 2 years, they have been absolutely plagued by injuries that has absolutely decimated their lineup on both sides of the ice. So when you think about that, they were able to get players like Sean Couturier back, they got Cam Atkinson back. I mean, they may not be lighting the league up, but they are a huge part of their offensive attack. And I give a ton of credit to John Tortorella, because when this team plays hard and they are strong on their puck pursuit, they give themselves a chance to win every single night. And that is directly from John Tortorella. He has figured out a way to get these guys to play with heart and passion and effort and to play for each other. I mean, I think we heard Carter Hart the other night talk about how much they love each other and how much they want to support each other in the locker room, and that it shows in their chemistry on the ice and the commitment that they're willing to play with. So I credit a lot of that to John Tortorella, but I will also say I think Danny Briere and Keith Jones have really enhanced that culture and really brought the team together, not only as like the players on the ice, but as an organization. Like, we are in this together, and we're going to battle through this and do what we can to make this club better each and every day. And they've been committed to their game plan, both like actual game plan on the ice and how they want to win hockey games, but also like how they want to build this organization back to the prominence that it once was, back in the 70s and 80s, and really just deliver for the fans that they're putting forth an effort. Because in Philly, wins or losses, I don't want to say they don't care, because they definitely do. But more so than anything, as long as they feel they are getting the best effort out of this team every night, the fans are going to be happy, and they're going to support them and be excited for them, and want to cheer for them and root them on. And I think that just perpetuates the snowball, and it gets bigger and bigger, and they just continue rolling.
Well, it's interesting watching the rotating stable of coaches they've had through there. And I talked to a Flyers great, Joe Watson, who was just a little over a year ago, and he was so devastated by how bad the team was, and he didn't see any way out of it. And he was just so he was just so discouraged and depressed about the Flyers. And I saw them here a couple years ago on Thanksgiving, night before Thanksgiving, and I'm like, I'm a big Carter Hart fan. It's not a shock to our viewers. They all know. And I felt bad for him. I'm like, this team is so bad. Why is Carter Hart getting all the thing? So then they turn it like this and turn it around. It seems fast from the outside. You've been watching it daily. Probably isn't as fast as it looks to us. But Carter Hart seems to be a new goalie. And isn't that funny how you get to be a lot better of a goalie when guys give a crap in front of you?
Yeah, I mean, that's not surprising at all. What I like about Carter's game is how he has evolved. I mean, obviously, a lot of people want to talk about how this is a contract year for him. And in many respects, it also feels somewhat of an audition for Team Canada in the Olympics, should the NHL participate. So there's no doubt that Carter Hart is putting forth his best effort in what he's doing on the ice. But I think a lot of that goes to the defensive effort in front of him. And that's not only just guys like giving a crap, but that's guys communicating with him so that he can be a better goalie and be in better position. And I feel like that's something that's really changed this year, is just the communication on the ice between him and the defenseman, and just kind of knowing where everybody is and where he wants them to be.
A quick one. Johnny in Winnipeg writes in on the Sober Carpenter text line and says, are we concerned about Ovi? Are you?
No. I mean, what is there to be concerned about? Like, the dude is a legend. So it's one of those things where I have no concerns about Ovi whatsoever. Like, he's an old man. Let's face facts here. So, I mean, yeah, there's the big talk about him being goalless. I think if he goes goalless tonight, it's 10 games, or maybe he's already at 10 games. We're somewhere around that mark. And yeah, okay. It happens. I mean, and it's not even like the Capitals are lighting the world on fire, and everybody else is scoring and he's not. Like, that's not the case either. So yeah, I'm not concerned about Ovechkin at all. He's just fine.
Yeah. Julie, where can people read your stuff and follow you?
Well, you can follow me on Twitter, on social media. I haven't written a lot lately. I've been focusing on actually a travel business that I started for hockey fans to travel around and watch their favorite teams on the road. That basically stemmed from my work in hockey. I was always traveling. And of course, I love to do cool stuff and eat cool stuff and see cool things. And I would always share it on my Instagram, and people started asking if they could come with me. So last season I decided, well, we'll give it a go. And I organized a group trip, and now I seem to be doing a lot more of that. But of course, I still love coming on shows like yours and talking hockey and sharing my love for the game in every way possible.
Well, you have a open invitation here. I will say Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Thanks for the time today, and hopefully we can do it again soon.
All right, sounds good. I'll see you in January then.
Awesome. Julie Robenhymer joining us. If that tour ever comes down to South Florida, we'll be here.